Hello, in this video we will discuss about the thyroid gland. So the thyroid gland produces T3 and T4, thyroxine and triiodothyronine, which essential for metabolism in normal individual. So the normally in the serum is zero point 0.4 to 5 ml micron per liter are present in the form of thyroxine binding protein, transthyretin TTR, and albumin and lipoprotein, which that is very essential and play important role for the growth and development. So during the development it is very essential the thyroid glands. So let's begin to understand a little bit about the anatomical aspect of the thyroid gland. So here is the person which that contain hypothalamus in the brain and pituitary gland which that will be regulate the thyroid gland production of hormone. So here is the structure is that is the basically is the thyroid cartilage, and this is the thyroid gland is the frontal view, and in this way the clavicle is here and trachea is lower, and the sternum, and in this way the thyroid gland is look like this, and this is the structure of thyroid gland which that is right lobe and left lobe and isthmus are present, and it is the front view. If we will discuss about the back view, so here is the four type of C cells which that is the parathyroid gland produce the calcitonin. So the thyroid gland basically collectively produce the calcitonin, thyroxine and triiodothyronine. So let's begin to understand the hypothalamus and pituitary gland and how it's produced and the negative and positive feedback mechanism. So first of all, here is I want to say that this is the thyroid follicle. It is in the form of follicle, and here is the blood vessels are surrounded in the lumen. So it is contain a thyroid cell, so thyroid follicular cell, and in this way the follicle like structure is looking like this, and the blood circulatory system will absorb the nutrients from the food. The food contain iodine and calcium, so remember about that. And here is the stomach. After the digestion, the duodenum will absorb the iodine. So the iodine containing food, rich iodine containing food, and salt will be absorbed into the blood circulatory system. After the movement into the blood circulatory system will move into the thyroid follicular cell. After the thyroid follicular cell will absorb the iodine, the story will begin. So let's begin to understand the other things. You should need to understand the regulation and their negative and positive feedback due to the high level of thyroid will inhibit the hypothalamus. So here is the pituitary gland contain adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis, anterior pituitary gland and posterior lobe. And here is the hypothalamus will trigger after the deficiency of thyroid hormone will release the thyroid releasing hormone, thyrotropin releasing factor, and it will stimulate the pituitary gland to produce the thyroid stimulating hormone from the anterior pituitary gland, adenohypophysis. So after this, the thyroid stimulating hormone will bind with the thyroid gland with the thyroid receptor. After this binding to produce the T3 and T4. The T3 and T4 which get the several targets. For example, skeletal growth through a skeletal muscle binding, not binding but it inside with the binding with the DNA, with the thyroid receptor, with the transcriptional factor. And in this way here is the skeletal growth, lipolysis, increase the brown fat will be degraded and increase the glucagon for the sympathetic activity as well as the production of more glucose from the liver and muscles into the blood, so no hyperglycemia, and the cell growth and proliferation will be occur and increase the blood sugar, while the inhibition of the insulin production due to the catabolism activity so will inhibit the insulin while the increase the glucagon. So the calcitonin is a very different story about that. It will be C cell produces in the thyroid gland produces and release it opposes the parathyroid hormone, helping the blood calcium phosphate level work to control phosphate, potassium, calcium levels It lowers the calcium in blood to deposit the bones, inhibit absorption from the digestive system as well as renal absorption and secretion promote and deposition in bones and smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum, which that will store the calcium and phosphate. So that is the calcitonin, but we are not understanding about the calcitonin. We are just understanding another thing. So in this way, here is the negative feedback will be occur after the high production of the thyroid gland to the hypothalamus for shutting down the further stimulus. So let's begin to understand. Here is the follicular cell. This follicular cell, I am drawing the bigger picture for understanding. So here is the blood vessel. This blood vessel contains thyroid stimulating hormone. This thyroid stimulating hormone will bind with the follicular cell. After the binding with the second messenger will be activated, cyclic AMP. I am giving the short overview for this. So here is the nucleus contain DNA, and I am not giving the detail for the second messenger and G couple protein receptor, but you should need to understand the G couple protein receptor will bind with the thyroid stimulating hormone. After the binding with the transcription factor will begin. After the second messenger, cyclic AMP will bind with the transcription factor with the DNA. So just it is overview for understanding. And after this, here is the thyroid follicular cell are present. After this, basically endoplasmic reticulum, after the messenger RNA will be produced. This messenger RNA will go into the rough endoplasmic reticulum where the binding with the ribosome to produce and synthesis and mature the protein thyroglobulin secretion. After the Golgi bodies will mature it. So here is the exocytosis will be occur after the thyroglobulin secretion. So the four ring of phenol will be bound with the protein, the polypeptide. So this is the thyroglobulin secretion. So after this secretion into the lumen, into the follicular inside, and after this inside there are different mechanisms we will discuss here. So here is the basically one more important thing is that it will be exocytosed into the follicle, lumen of the follicle, and after this here is the channel. This channel is the iodine are rich in the blood circulatory system will move inside through a sodium iodine symporter. After the sodium will move inside with the one iodine molecule. So after the one iodine will be symport through a one sodium will move in flux, and in this way the iodine will move in with the pandrine transporter, which iodine will move into the follicular lumen. And here is the thyroid peroxidase enzyme used with the hydrogen peroxide will activate the iodine species with the iron binding with the binding with the heme groups, not hemoglobin, heme group with the iodine. And after this it will be transported through a thyroglobulin protein will be bind with iodine. After this is you can see in this diagram. So in this way the phenol will contain again the iodine, and iodine is contained here. You can see 6 iodine element will be bind, the iodine molecule will bind, and in this way the phenolic coupling will be occur, and in this way here is the iodine containing endocytosis will be occur with the collectively, and in this way the thyroxine and triiodothyronine will bind with the protein, and this globulin protein will bind, and after this the cleavage formation will be occur, and after this cleavage formation will be occur to produce the thyroxine is the T4 containing the 4 iodine group, and in this way the triiodothyronine which contain 3 with the tyrosine residue. So this tyrosine residue will contain iodine, and in this way this is in the form of T4 and T3 will be moving to the blood circulatory system through MCT8 transporter, and in this way it will target to the different tissue directly into the DNA for a transcription of the synthesis of protein, that proliferation of cells, etc., etc. And thermogenesis will be occur. We will discuss in the next video about the thermogenesis through a thyroid gland, that is known as the non-shivering thermogenesis. And here is the T4 will convert through a iodinase enzyme 1 and 2, which that is convert into the T3. And this is the T3 is very important, and it is very important for that. And the iodinase 3 enzyme and 1, which that is produce the 3,3 diiodine um, diiodine containing residue of the tyrosine. And here is the T3 is also convert into the selenoenzyme. If the T3 will be more, so the selenoenzyme will be convert iodinase 1 and iodinase 2 will be convert into the 33T2, which that is inactive if the excess of the excess of the T3. But in the case of here is the antigen, which that is showing the antigen presenting cell with the T cell will convert into the T regulatory cell to stimulate the B cell for producing the auto antibodies. And these auto antibodies will stimulate the autoimmune disorder, stimulate more to hyperthyroidism will be occur, because it will be block the T3 conversion. So the T3 will not convert, it means the stimulation and hyperthyroidism will be occur. And it can be inhibited by this drug 6N propyl 2 thiouracil and 6M2 thiouracil MTU and MMI methimazole and carbimazole CBZ. So let's begin to understand the sign and symptom of imbalance the thyroid system. So the hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. So let's begin to understand the hypothyroidism, which that is the sign and symptom. So the loss of energy, slow metabolism, weight gain, bradycardia, dry skin hair, constipation, cold intolerance, puffy skin, altered cognition, hyperflexia, menstruation irregulation, stunted growth in children. While in the case of hyperthyroidism is the different, which that is the high level of the high level of the T3 due to the autoimmune disorder, which that produce the hot flashes is the sign and symptom, and sweating the tachycardia, which that is the opposite, and in anxiety the nervousness, weight loss, hair loss, and the difficulty in sleep, weakness and diarrhea, emotional irritability and goiter and moist sweaty skin. So that's all thing is due to the sign and symptom of hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism. So next video we will also understand about the transcription factor and how it work for the production of energy, etc., etc. So thanks for watching. Please make sure to subscribe, like and share. Bye.